My name is Abby Shields, and I am the founder of No Heart Left Behind Ministry. The drive behind the ministry is our belief that at the heart of every problem is a problem of the heart. The focus of the ministry is to bring hope and healing to a hurting world, one heart at a time, with the Word of God and the love of Christ. The following true story is of a couple who came to our counseling office seeking help for their marriage. They were full of anger, bitterness, and had no communication skills that were effective.
My name, you want to go first, babe? Go ahead.
My name is Gina Decaro. I am a hairstylist, part-time. We also have a fence company that I work for part-time, doing the books and the paperwork for the fence company.
And I'm Terry Decaro. I own Delta Fence Company, and she does most of the workload there with the books and taking care of this house and the animals. Mine was to grow old. We had gone to grow old together. We had gone to, it was like a little country, not a country, a Cajun bar, and it was all old people. And the guys were getting up, pulling a chair out for the wife, sitting down. They were holding hands, talking, would get up to dance. That's what I wanted.
And they were all in their 70s and 80s.
Yeah. And it just stuck in my mind. And I said, that's life, you know.
Same thing, we wanted to grow old together.
What can I say about the Decaros? They're just like all the other couples that come into No Heart Left Behind's marriage counseling. They were struggling, they were at odds with one another, and they were truly not seeking life that's truly life. They were looking to one another to meet their needs instead of looking to God.
Life getting busy, life getting hectic, putting hobbies or toys or, playtime, personal time ahead of what was important and ahead of each other. Interest that we had, at one time we were making considerable amount of money after Katrina and bought a lot of toys with it, did a lot of playing, four-wheelers and boats and jet skis and a lot of things that took time away from each other, things we did together but took time away from us and took time away from God as well.
Right, that was the biggest problem. We didn't have God in our life. Mm-hmm. And you could tell we were just doing this. Mm-hmm.
Suicide attempt for me. That kind of set us both over the edge. Landed me in a facility, and when I came out, I had to come out under someone's care, so I came out under Abby's care.
Everything I teach in the marriage counseling end of No Heart Left Behind is about my belief that God can bring health and healing to a marriage. Word says that, I believe it. I would not do what I do if I didn't have a strong faith in the healing power of the grace of God. I just wouldn't. Terry and Gina are no different. They believe the lies to be true about that their spouse could meet the spiritual needs of their hearts, and that just doesn't happen. Too often couples look to one another to be complete. And you cannot fix spiritual problems with worldly things. It does not work. There is no man or no woman that can complete an individual spiritually. It's my belief that with Terry and Gina, as they began to hear the message of love and grace and mercy, that they began to have the eyes of their hearts opened, to be able to see one another through a different perspective. That's really what I try to teach. Is perspective, to look at one another through God's eyes instead of looking at one another through the world's eyes.
Through a friend, Barry Hengdale, who really introduced me to God. I would do an annual retreat at Manresa, which is a Jesuit retreat. And Barry went, and we got to talking, and then we come to my office and start doing Bible study. And then, I shared with him a lot that was going on in my life, and he turned me on to Abby, and I went and saw her, and then we both started seeing as a couple.
And there were a few things that we went to that Abby just kept popping up in different places. We had heard her name, Barry referred her to us, and we kind of just pushed it to the back burner. But I went to a Women's Hope Conference, Abby was there. We went to the No Heart Left Behind
Mike Mielek.
Chance for Romance. Abby was there. I had heard her speak someplace else, and she said, "It's time to go see Abby." She keeps coming up somewhere.
Right, God keeps sending in our life. You hear that, Abby?
I believe that Satan is attacking this nation one family at a time, one marriage at a time. That's why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I believe with all my heart that the Word of God can heal an individual's life, and it can heal marriage relationships. Scripture says, nevertheless, the Lord will bring health and healing to it. If I didn't believe that, I would not do what I do. Gina and Terry are just one example of the many couples who come in with wounded hearts and eyes to look at one another that have been clouded over with the pain of life.
Don't ever be embarrassed to seek help for any problem that you have. There is no stigma, there is no shame in any kind of counseling, whether it is psychiatric counseling, spiritual counseling, medical counseling, whatever it is. Don't be ashamed to get help, look for help, because someone before you has been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, they've been through it all, and maybe you can learn from their mistakes. You don't have to make any more mistakes yourself.
Yeah. And I look at it as no such thing as a perfect marriage, perfect relationship. If somebody says it, they got problems. And like she said, one thing I like about No Heart Left Behind is she goes here, spiritually, not here. And if with something that Abby taught me that stuck in my head is what the Bible stands for. Basic instructions before leaving earth. And it's written right there. Follow his law. And we fortunate enough that Abby, as a tool of God, came into our life. And there was a reason. Because if it wouldn't have happened, we probably would be divorced.
We would not be sitting here together.
Yeah.
Not at all.
As followers of Christ, one of the most powerful witnesses I believe No Heart Left Behind can have is meeting the basic real-world needs of people. Through the kindness and generosity of No Heart Left Behind donors, our care ministry is able to reach out to those in need in various ways. The story of Ashley is just an example of one of the ways that we have been able to walk alongside an individual in this community who so desperately was in need of help. I met Ashley December of 2011 when she knocked on the door of my home. And when I answered the door, there was this young lady, age 24, tears in her eyes, seeking things for her children for Christmas. She had been referred to No Heart Left Behind through a government agency. And when she came through the door and we sat down and we talked for hours, I came to know the heart of a young lady who had been very wounded growing up.
Before I met Miss Abby, I was staying a family house. We didn't have water. I lost my mom when I was 15. I had a child, so it was kind of hard. We slept in the car. We slept in shelters. I used to scold my sister. She was had a boyfriend, an older person. I go stay with them sometimes. Till I came back, we was like back and forth to New Orleans. My mom used to stay over there, so we was back and forth in New Orleans. Then we come back to Covington. My family didn't want to be bothered. basically walked inside one day, heard my auntie talking about it. So I left. You know, I left her house, never looked back. My grandfather had a house on Sunshine. Started staying out there. We didn't have no water, you know, or nothing, but it was a house. So I stayed there. Prior to that, 2006, my son took sick. So now I'm with 2 kids, a sick child, nowhere to go.
Ashley had 3 children, 2 girls and a young boy, and the reason she was in the situation that she was in was because she had lost her job due to the fact that her son had suffered from seizures. Because she had to spend time with him away from her job, she was fired from her job and ended up not having any income whatsoever.
I used to do like private sitting, you know, on and off of that, but he stayed sick so much to where I couldn't even work because we was in and out of New Orleans Hospital. In and out, in and out. Like, we'll stay over there for months at a time. I mean, literally, I would stay at New Orleans Hospital for like 2 or 3 months. That's how bad he used to have seizures.
One of the things that happened during this 4-year period that I've been with Ashley is the death of her son. I was speaking out in Colorado Springs, and I'll never forget the day when she called me, and I was on a break in my speaking engagement, and she was sobbing on the other end of the phone, and she was telling me that Herbert had died.
One day he went into a seizure. I just had met Miss Abby, and I was telling her a little bit about my situation. We had a doctor's appointment in New Orleans, and on our way there he had a seizure, and he never came out of it.
But what I heard from her that day was the despair in her voice was because all she could say was, I don't want to bury him in a pauper's grave. The hopelessness in her voice made me commit to her and said, I don't know how, but I know who. And I don't know how you're going to be able to not bury your son in a pauper's grave, but I know who. And I know that that is not what he desires for your son. And so because of the generous donations, as we put the word out to the supporters of No Heart Left Behind, we were able to raise $4,000 to give her son a proper burial. It is things like that that I am so grateful for to the supporters of NHLB, because without the individuals that pour into the ministry, we wouldn't be able to give a hand up or be able to come alongside individuals to give them the hope that we so desire for them to come to know in Jesus.
I'll never forget, she was out of town, and I didn't have no one else to call. When I met her, she just let me in her house. Like, she didn't care about my background. She didn't care who I was. She didn't care nothing about that. She just let me in, like she knew me for forever. And she was right there. She helped me bury my son and everything because I didn't have it. Over the top. She helped me get a job. One of my daughters started staying back with me. My oldest one. She started staying back with me. Ms. Abby started helping me financial-wise. And I got one of my daughters, she started staying back with me. And then I got a job. I didn't have transportation though. She gave me her car. She just gave it to me and to get me back and forth to work. Get my daughter back and forth to school. She left and went out of town. She comes back. I had a car. My first car was the 1996 Honda Accord, thanks to No Heart Left Behind. And then a couple of months later, about probably a year later, my other daughter came back, started staying with me. So now I got both my girls staying with me. I have a full-time job. Then God done blessed me with another car.
The other things that I've seen with Ashley is her willingness to work tirelessly when most people would not get up and go to work. She would get up in spite of the pain of her physical condition, in spite of the fact that she was tired. She would go and wash dishes day in, day out to be able to provide for her girls. Through this experience, I have learned courage from Ashley.
And she haven't left me yet. We managed, she got me like on a budget system where I budget my money every month, through her. She always says it's not a handout. It's a hand up. It's not a handout, it's a hand up. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the person I am. I wouldn't be the mother that I am today. Because I almost lost myself. It's just, I don't know. I was lost. She started counseling me so I can find God. Because I was so angry with everything I had done been through just by being 15. So I was very angry. And I have a hole in my heart. Because everything that had done happened to me. And I couldn't figure out why. Why me? Why? I just couldn't figure it out. But she made it seem easy. She made it seem like everything was going to be okay. And it was. She did. She did that for me. I don't know how, but she did it.
And one of the things that I asked Ashley when she was sitting at the table was, what goals do you have? Because I was so struck by her determination to make a better life for her children than what she had. And so with that, I set a goal with her, and her goal was to have she said, my dream would be to have my own home one day. And then I asked her, how old do you want to be when you have that dream completed? And she said, by the time I'm 30. And so it was that goal that we began to move her towards.
I'm getting a Habitat house. She met with the lady. She broke her leg, so the woman had to come to her house. And she told her a little bit about my story. And I was approved. I filled out the papers. And I'll be in my house in April. She don't give up on people. And she took me in as her daughter. And she haven't gave up on me yet. And like I said, I'm overwhelmed. Don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. It might seem bad, it might look bad, but never give up. God always got a plan. He might not come when you want him, but he's always on time. Never give up. I was that person. I was that girl who almost gave up, almost took my life and everything. I almost gave up. But he wasn't ready for me yet, because he brought me back. And one thing Ms. Abby always taught me is I don't know how, but I know who. And long I know who, I don't need to know how.
Whether we are extending a helping hand in our care ministry or counseling couples or individuals and families, it's plain to see that No Heart Left Behind is being used by God to heal the broken hearts of people who find themselves in need. 8 years ago, when No Heart Left Behind was founded, My husband's wise advice still rings true. He said, if we get a little, we'll be able to do a little. But Abby, if we receive a lot, we'll be able to do a lot. We need your help. If you would like to partner with us financially, please visit our website at www.noheartleftbehind.com or send a financial gift to 1701 Orchard Drive, Covington, Louisiana, 70435. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. May God bless you.